Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Laura and I like to make stuff. And today I have another quilt top I'm dying to make. I got for Christmas a few, I think they're fat quarters packs. So this is like an assortment of different fabrics from Free Spirit. I have two others that I got from Mardi, thank you. But this one, I love the top fabric in all of these colors. However, some of the fabrics, I didn't really want to totally mix and match them all in a quilt or in the blocks. And so I decided to pick up this fabric, which I was originally looking for. There's this fuchsia pink color. I was hoping to get just the plain fuchsia pink, but Joann's didn't have any and I didn't have the money to go to an actual quilt shop. So I picked up this fabric. I'm not crazy about the actual pattern, but I think it works really well and is going to go really well with this pack, because if one of the colors in here on the top, I feel like they're made to go together like the colors are, and so I really think that this is gonna look really cute. I also picked up recently a long ruler, which everybody's been telling me to get, so I finally have one. And upon picking this up, I realized that my ruler, this one, I was mistaken about the actual measurements on my previous videos. So I hope you aren't sticking to the measurements that I was talking about. I mean, I'm sure the measurements would work, but that's not what I was doing. So this is actually 6.5, I think. Quarter? A half. And so this one I got is just 6 by 24. So I measured what this is, and it's 10 inches by 10 inches. So I decided that I'm actually not going to go off of the exact width of this. I'm actually going to measure. So I have these pre-cut up. I'm going to be cutting these into squares, but this is 4.5 inches. And then this I'm going to cut into squares of 5 by 5. And the reason is because I want to do, in my 1000 Great Quilt Blocks by Maggie McCormick Gordon, I found one that I thought would go really well. I'm going to do, it's called, oh, and I ripped it. It's called Contrary Wife. These gray pieces here, I'm going to keep as this color. And then the half squares, I'm going to do from the pack. And so the half squares I'm going to do 5 by 5. So once they're sewn up, I should be able to trim them down to 4.5. Fingers crossed, if I'm very, very precise. So yeah, this is the plan. And I'm going to get started. Okay. Hello! I'm checking in because I have discovered that I measured improperly, and the squares are actually just ever so slightly less than 10 inches. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make these things, I'm going to make this color 4 inches, and I'm going to do 4.5 of these blocks so I can use all of the fabric, because otherwise I'm like missing, like this whole chunk would not be used. So that is the adjustment that I'm going to be making. We're going with 4 or maybe 3 3/4 or something, and then 4.5, 4.5. That should hopefully work better. Okay. Voiceover Laura is taking over. This wound up working out the measurements that I switched to, and I did use the majority of the fabric that I had in those in the packs. One of the nice things about this project is that it got me a little bit out of my comfort zone in regards to sizing and cutting blocks. Instead of just using exactly what the ruler is, I was measuring and cutting outside of like the ruler's measurements, I guess. So smaller than what the ruler was for, and etc. uh, which I think is going to help do some of the other block designs that are in the book that I've been using. And I would like to get another book, I think, at some point. Because the next step for a lot of those blocks are not just simple one size half quarters or half square triangles. A lot of them are various size blocks and putting them together. So this was the first step in doing that, being able to cut various sizes and doing the math rather than just having everything one size, which I think was nice. Of course, there were half square triangles in this. I really actually wound up liking the design and the process of making these blocks because they're basically half square triangles in a 9 patch when you're finally putting them together. And I don't know, it was so simple, and yet I feel like the end result is like, it looks like it's a little bit more complicated. And maybe that's just the fabrics that I used, but I think it would be fun to do this pattern again sometime with different colors. Maybe even solids. Who knows? I am using my squaring tool to square everything up by keeping the diagonal line in line on the squaring tool, which is why I like that one. I know someday I will get another one that has a groove where you can actually, it sets into the half square triangle. Here is what I mean when I say it's the 9 patch, because you have 4 are half square triangles and the rest are not, and it's just laid out in a 9 patch. Super simple, but I love the way that the blocks turned out. I had a lot of fun working on this quilt, and just the excitement of seeing what it was going to look like in the end. I don't know. It always excites me when I'm working on a new project. Yeah. Nothing. It's been pretty slow going in my life, personally. Just, filling y'all in. I don't know how much discussion really needs to happen about what you're watching. I'm using the smaller seam allowance, and that has been holding up really well. Everything's been lining up a lot better. That tip was the major one that I feel like changed the game for me, which is to be aware of the foot that you're using. Mine is a dressmaker's foot, but there is a little line on the inside that is the correct measurement for a 1/4 seam allowance instead of 5/6. It sounds like it could be correct. Could I get a new foot? I could, but since I know where the line is and it's working out for me, I'm not going to waste the money. I did get a walking foot though, which was very exciting. I haven't used it yet, but I have been hand quilting another quilt, and I'm getting close to putting on the binding, and I'm very excited to try the walking foot. Somebody left that comment on the last video, and I have a feeling that'll be the turning point for my bindings. Because it it's been holding up. The binding on my last quilt, I've been having it on my bed and using it, but it's definitely not like anywhere close to perfect. But you live and you learn. I should have kept count on how many blocks I made. I did mess up one, and there were 4 that I wound up not using, just because it wasn't going to be a full row. The nice thing though is that it does create a secondary pattern. Or at least the way that I have decided to put them together. I've seen there were a few different variations on ways that you could have sewn the blocks together, but I love secondary patterns, so that's what I chose to do. And here it is, finished. I really love how vibrant it is. There's a lot going on for sure, but I personally love that. I do think that it needs a border, and what I'm actually thinking about doing is getting black and white checkered or some kind of black and white pattern fabric and using that as the border. It's a little short, in my opinion, for a full-size quilt. So I would probably put the top and the bottom, I would designate that to be thicker than the sides. But I did watch a video on the trick to adding borders, so I'm going to add, I think I might do a video of adding borders for this one and a different quilt that I want to add a border to, because they're a little bit small. But yeah, everything, I feel like all my lines line up perfectly. I'm so proud of this one. I can't wait to add the border and then have it finished and be on my bed at some point. I had a lot of fun working with this. This was a nice, fun project. So yeah, if you like watching people make stuff, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. And I will see you in the next video.